Blessed day, Kingdom Health family. So good to see you all today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The month of October is Substance Use Awareness Month. And today we're going to be focusing on addictions, which is strongly correlated with Substance Use Awareness Month. Welcome everyone that's coming in. Today, I'm so delighted to have another Kingdom Health Team member with me today, Nurse Sharon Witt. Um, so delighted. She's very experienced in this field, and we're just going to pull on some of that expertise today and get
Yeah,
a little bit more awareness, understanding. We want to be equipped, we want to be informed, we want to be educated so we can live well. Amen. All right. So, Nurse Sharon, how long have you been in the field of addiction medicine, mental health, and addictions? How long have you been in this field? Tell us a
great.
little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Vanessa. Thank you for this platform. Yes, I have been working in the mental health and addictions field since 1998. I started off in a psychiatric hospital in the Newington area that's currently closed down. And then in 2004, I matriculated over to substance abuse service and addiction services hospital over in Hartford area. So it's been a lot of learning experiences there, seeing people going through the cycles of mental health and addiction, how it affects
Mhm.
everyone. So it's a humbling experience working with individuals in that capacity.
I can imagine, and especially with the time change, October, there's less sunlight. We tend to see so many mental health issues,
Hmm.
especially towards the end of the year. So I think the timing of sharing this topic is so important right now. So I mean, addiction, we hear the word, it's so loosely used, if you will, and but it has so much meaning and it
Yeah,
looks so different in everyday life. Now, what is addiction and what does it look like in everyday life? Help us out
yeah. Good
in the
question.
understanding.
What is addiction? Addiction. I tend to seek out the experts. So I'm going to use Dr. Gabor Mate. He's a Canadian physician and an addiction expert. And he defines addiction as a complex physiological and psychological process which manifests in any behavior that a person enjoys, finds relief in, and therefore craves for a short period of time and suffers negative consequences in the long term. And he actually doesn't even realize that the consequences are dire and they ignore them and they continue to use in
Wow.
spite of.
Wow.
Um, Although I can mention and point out in his definition is that he did not mention any substances, and that's our focus. And I do realize that. But one thing he did mention is the behavioral patterns, the addictive patterns that individuals have, and that just not only the person who uses alcohol who struggles
Right.
with that.
Right.
Cocaine, you have cocaine, fentanyl, benzos, also opiates. What else? We have marijuana, we have nicotine, and the list goes on. We also have to realize that addictive behavior also relates to individuals who gamble,
Mm,
overeat,
mm,
compulsive shoppers. Uh, who else I can describe? Pornography, sex
mm.
addictions, overuse of the internet, where we get so caught up where we can't even function and manage our lives. Anything that is an an excess where you ignore the 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 dire consequences and the negative outcomes of all of the time that you put in effort into these negative areas.
Wow.
And how do they and they will not be helped unless the cycle is broken.
Wow. Wow. That is powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, we don't even think about. I think oftentimes when one is addicted, no one thinks about the consequences. It's just the
Mhm,
craving is so strong,
mhm,
and you know, something that we talked about before even coming on is just like even the
mhm,
trauma that can come before the addiction,
mhm.
and how it even it starts there, but
Yeah.
then there's a need for this substance, like you mentioned some of it. I mean, different foods as well, and
Mhm,
just all this chemical response.
mhm,
And it does something for the chemistry in the body, but
mhm.
then the negative consequences. And then, it's really for that cycle to be broken there.
Much
Yeah.
loss is much loss is a result of these addictive patterns, and sometimes
Hmm.
you don't see until you really are at rock bottom, where you
Mm,
lose everything. Um, what does addiction looks like in everyday life to me?
mm,
From the lens of where I see it from every day in my workplace, I see substance use disorder. It doesn't discriminate, as you know. You can be
mm,
black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Japanese, male, female, old, young, rich, poor. You can live in the hood, educated, or live in the suburbs or be
mm,
uneducated. Individuals suffering with addictions uh, is widespread. And
mm,
it not only affects our local community, it affects the US as a whole, nationwide, the effect.
mm,
How do I see addiction in everyday life? This is what I see. I see homelessness. I
mm,
see broken homes, premature death, unemployment, broken dreams and visions, and just this dashed dreams. I see families without mothers and fathers, displaced children. I see people who are incarcerated. I remember going to one of my doctors for just a regular visit, and he asked me a question that kind of threw me off. He said to me, he said, I know you where you work. He said, can you give me some advice on what to say to my neighbor whose child is suffering from addiction? And I was like, oh, okay. He said, what do I say to them? And I was a little thrown off, like, what do you say? This is the doctor. You're supposed to be treating me. But addictions is touching everyone's life. Everyone can say they know someone who either um, has it, who has a family member, who has a friend, a co-worker, someone you go to church with. Everyone has been affected in some way, and say that they know someone who either struggles with it, um, deceased as a result of overdose. We've all been affected by this disease in
mm,
many ways.
mhm.
Um, and we were just looking to try to find a way to get people aware, to let them know
Yes.
that there's a way that you can help. There
Yes.
are resources. We have to get involved because we're losing way too many people, young and old, way too many people as a result.
How common is it?
Is very common. I'm going to give you a couple of reports, that I've seen. And every day you walk down the street, you see the effects of it. Getting off the
Yes.
highway, you see people standing there looking for money.
Mhm,
You see the effects of it.
yeah.
It's very impactful and it's very sad.
Mhm,
So I have some reports that the CDC did say. It said, although we did see a hike of overdoses through the pandemic, if you can recall, the government poured in tons of money to try to support the services to help the individuals because the people were dying at a rate that was just unusually high. So
mhm,
the CDC reports a slight improvement as well. It reports overdose deaths decreased almost 27% in 2024. The CDC, National Center for Health Statistics, indicate there were an estimate of 80,000, listen, 80,391 drug overdose deaths in the United States during
mhm,
2021, which is actually a decrease. of 26.9% from the deaths estimated in 2023.
Mm.
So
Wow.
2024 to 2023, there was a decrease, but it was slight. There's still a lot of people losing their lives behind overdose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in Connecticut, the Connecticut Public Health, the update from January 2025 reports that there were 1,328 unintentional drug overdose deaths in 2023
Wow.
compared to 1,452 unintentional overdoses deaths in 2022. Now that's
Mm.
close to home.
Yeah.
This is Connecticut. It's not somewhere off in some other state. This is
Right.
Connecticut where we live, our
Mm-hmm.
community, and other things that they reported about our community. It says non-Hispanic Black population had the highest mortality rate, followed by the Hispanic population.
Wow. Wow.
The highest mortality rates were seen between the ages of 35 and 64 years of age. That
Wow.
group, where you think where you're at your retirement age, you want to
Yeah.
enjoy your family. You want to take a trip to Maui and come back, but no, you're suffering with the substance use. People need help.
Yeah.
It says also from the Connecticut Public Health, it reports that males, our men,
Mm-hmm.
had the highest mortality rates when compared to females. We're losing way too many people, Dr. Vanessa,
Yeah.
behind drug use. Way too
Absolutely.
many. It has to stop.
Absolutely. It has to.
Um,
It has to.
One
Wow.
thing,
Oh, go
one
ahead.
thing, one thing that I did notice is that the common thread with every person, and you mentioned it earlier about trauma and pain and things of that regard. The common thread which every person suffering with addiction is emotional, mental, physiological pain from trauma.
Wow. Wow. That's the root of it. And the
Yeah.
fruit of it is the addiction to
Hmm.
substances over time. And like we said, like it has to stop. So with this awareness, there's a knowing that, there's assistance and there's help that's definitely available.
Oh,
There were three numbers that you mentioned. Can you just share that before
yeah.
we wrap up here?
I do have a number for anyone who's listening, or if you know anyone who might need this information, who are in a immediate crisis situation, mental
Mhm.
health, or if they just want to give up they want to start a fresh life. They're ready for change. They're from that pre-contemplation stage, and they're in that, hey, I'm preparing to do something new with my life. I'm ready to change. There are numbers that you can call.
Mhm.
You can call, of course, 211 info line.
Mhm.
And if there's a dire emergency, if you know someone who's going into a respiratory distress from using, call 911. Let them get their emergency services as faster as they can get there. The greater the rate of life. Um, it once they arrive. And
Mhm.
also we have a hotline called 988. It's a lifeline. You can call, text, or send the chat. And that's through the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for anyone who needs that kind of help.
Yeah. So we have the choice today between life and death,
Yeah.
blessings and curses.
Hmm.
Literally, we call on all of heaven to witness the decision that you and I make. Oh, that we can choose life so we can live and our descendants can live as well. Thank you so much, Nurse Sharon, for just shedding this awareness on addiction, what it is. This could be medications and this could be food.
Yeah.
This could be shopping. It could be gambling. Whatever it is, there's negative implications to it. So we can nip it in the at the root, right?
Yeah.
By utilizing some of these services. So we can choose life. So
Mhm.
go ahead, put hashtag I choose life. Remember to like, share, let's help others be aware. And Again, Kingdom Health Connections will be putting on a health fest that's going to be taking place October 19th after our service at the Apostles House from 1:30 to 3 p.m. We have special guests that will be coming in who also specialize in this field of substance use. There's going to be some exciting things that's going to be taking place. So we have the tools and we're fully equipped and know how to address if anyone may be in an emergency situation. So thank you all so much for tuning in with us, being here with us. Catch us here again next week. We're going to be talking about the impact on families. So, more on this discussion throughout the entire month. Let's bring comfort, let's bring awareness, let's shed light in the midst of darkness so that way freedom can come for us as well as for our loved ones and family members. Be blessed, everyone. We'll catch you here again next week. Thank you so much, Nurse Sharon. Bye
You're
bye.
welcome. God bless.